I'm David from Levika Photography, and today we're checking out the GVM video lights, the P80 LS or LS-80P or something like that. Anyway, let's just start. GVM came to me last year and asked me to review a couple of their lights for them after they saw my RGB light review that I did of one of their lights. And they were asking for a positive review, which just sucks. So back in November, they had these on sale on their website, 2 for 1. That sale is still going. So I went ahead and bought them myself just so I could give you guys a fully honest review. So let's just dive into this so I can tell you guys what I think about these. So currently, GVM is selling these on their website for 2 for 1, and they've had this special going since the beginning of November, I believe. Anyway, I went and bought these, but I noticed on Amazon that you can buy these for about $100, $110 each. So it's not really 2 for 1. It's more like 40% off if you buy the pair from them. But anyway, are they any good? Well, let me tell you right off the bat what I think of them. Let's just compare it really quick. So this is a 120 watt equivalent LED bulb that you can buy from Home Depot. And you can see it has pretty good light output. So this is the GVM video light right here, and if we turn this on, you'll see it completely overwhelms everything. And this is a really bright light. I am actually pretty impressed with how well it works. Now let's talk about the different style of LED in here. So these bulbs, these have kind of this is a mixed Cri LED. This is like a 7 LED bulb. This is older tech. This is probably a 4 or 5 year old light bulb now. And I still use this for doing like certain types of product photography, or if I need like a little extra light in something. That's the reason why it's on a stand. This is the easiest setup that you can possibly do. Anyway, over here, the GVM, if we turn and look on the inside of this, we have a cob style LED, and this is multiple little tiny LED bulbs just kind of put together, and there's a lot of them in there. I don't know how many there are, but there's a lot. And this is kind of the standard format that you're seeing now from video lights like this. Godox is doing the same thing. There's other brands that are doing it, newer. You know, they all have this same kind of style of LED. Now, there's a massive advantage to this style of LED. The main thing is that obviously you can see from this video, they don't flicker at all under any situation because there's so many of them and they run at different frequencies. So they're very, very stable. Now, the other advantage to having that many LEDs crammed together is you get a higher CRI rating. Now, this has a CRI rating of 97, and that's a color rendering index rating. And these do actually come out and test that way. These test on my camera, on my A7R, right at 5600K. And these pair of lights match each other. Now, where's the other light? It's actually right here with the softbox on it. And so that's the good. They work really well. They're Bowens mount. They'll work with all my light modifiers. Now, let's talk about the bad. That this light stand, which is fully extended, is not the most stable, and nor does it have a good footing. The light stands that come with these lights are not very good. They're fine for starting out, you know, if you just need some small light stands, these will work. They don't extend super tall. They go up to about 6.5 feet. I will put these in the description if you guys are interested in them. These are the Promaster LS-2 stands, and these I use for everything. And just to give you an idea of how good these are, you'll see it hits the ceiling. And these go up to about 9 feet. And these have a much wider base than those. So Promaster, those. So if you're going to get serious about some sort of light stand, these Promaster LS stands, I have lots of these. These things are awesome and they're cheap, and that's what I like about them. They're very stable. Usually it has my Godox 600 BM. That's the stand that I use for, or the stand that I use for that light. That is pretty much the only way to go. They're just rock solid. These, not so rock solid. You put a big enough softbox on this and you risk the chance of it falling over. This lever is really cheaply made and it doesn't slide well. It gets caught, so not a huge fan of that. But it does work, and changing stuff on the fly is fine. It works. It's just really, really loose, very low tolerances. The light itself, where it mounts to the stand, this plastic, you can see right where it mounts right here, you can see that this is heavily reinforced, and that's because this is a softer plastic, and this is tightened all the way down, and it does actually move, and it shows more on something that's got a bigger light modifier on it. But you can see there that it just kind of moves on the stand, and that isn't all that great. Now, one thing that this does come with is an umbrella mount. So you have a pass-through right here where you can put an umbrella in front of it and diffuse it that way if you want to. The plastic on the light itself definitely feels really cheap. Now, the benefit of using a cheap plastic like this is it keeps the weight of the light way down. These weigh nothing, and they are really light, very easy to travel with. There's a fan going in the back. Let me turn this light all the way up, and you can kind of hear it. Let me get my microphone. You can barely hear it when you're this close. In video in a silent room, you can't hear it at all. The fan is holding up great. The light doesn't seem to get that hot. It does get a little warm around the mount, but for an 80-watt light, that's expected. Now, the only other thing that I don't like about this is the power supply. So let's look at this power supply really quick. So you can see this isn't exactly what I would call a great power supply. There is no UL listed on this. It's missing a couple other certifications. The good news is it's a very standard rated power supply. So it's 3 amps, 30 volts, 50 to 60 hertz. And then the AC is 100 to 240 volts at 1.5 amps. These are really common, so you can get a UL listed power supply once these burn out. This one has been running for about 2 hours. It is warm, it's not hot. I don't expect that these things are going to last more than 2 years. I'm always just really cautious about power supplies that don't have a UL listing on them because they have a tendency to die a very sudden death. Because when they are UL listed, usually they've got backup mechanisms in it that won't allow them to get to the point where they get so hot that they melt, that they just shut off and then they just kind of die. I have a feeling that these are going to get really hot, melt down, and probably have a violent death. I don't know. I don't trust the power supply, is all I'm saying. They do make an adapter that I saw on their website that allows you to plug in a cable, and then you can have a battery mount for some VF50 batteries, the Sony style 50 batteries. And that would actually be kind of cool because then you could have constant power wherever you go. So let's check out the thermals really quick just to see what this looks like. So it looks like in the hottest area, we're hitting about 110 degrees, averaging 107, somewhere around there. That isn't bad. You can tell that it's all around the heat sink right here in the light. And that's kind of where the majority of it. Here it says it's 104 to 107. The LED itself is right around 190. So that's putting out some serious heat, but that's expected for being 80 watts. Now the power supply, let's take a look at the power supply really quick. So the power supply itself is hitting 110 degrees, and you can see where the capacitors are in there and where they're getting extremely hot. So will this power supply have a long life? I have no idea. So anyway, there you go. Honestly, I think that they're really actually pretty good lights, especially for the money. At $100 and their Bowens mount, I think that's actually an excellent deal. There's just certain things that you need to be very wary of about these. I don't trust that power supply. I don't like the light stands. The links to these Promaster light stands will be in the description along with the links to the lights. But for a starter kit, I think that these are actually great. And the fact that they make a battery power supply that you can plug into it, also cool. And the light accuracy is really good. Just for the light quality alone, I think they're worth it. So anyway, I hope you guys like this review. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel for more information like this, and we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.